Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Doug Taylor, PHA Board of Trustees member and PHA Conference Committee co-chair.
Thank you. I have to tell you, I am so tired, but it's a good tired. It's a wonderful tired. Let me find my place here. It's been an incredible few days, so I have to ask you, have you found your hope? If you found your hope, let me know. Very good, very good. I know I've seen several of you finding your hope. It's been great talking to first-time attendees and hearing their take on conference, and then talking with people who've attended conference for 10 or 15 different conferences, and just the inspiration that they bring to me and the hope that they bring to me. We found our hope in seeing how PHA provides courageous and passionate leadership and advocating for our community. That's the good news, and everyone here has been a part of it. While we're winding down to the end of the conference, we are fortunate that in this final hour we have great food and fellowship, and you know what? I just realized that I was reading from the wrong part of the program, because for the first part, we have, as we enjoy our food, we have a local a cappella group who is singing, I hope I'm correct on that, Right on Key. Please join me in welcoming the local a cappella group, Right on Key.
Hello, everybody. How are you today? Like he mentioned, we're right on key, and we want to kind of share some magical moments with you by means of some Disney songs, but we're going to switch it up just a little bit because we're all kind of from the 90s era. So we're going to do a little bit of classic Disney film stuff with some 90s jams in the background, and we hope you enjoy. Miss Debo, you got this?
I got this.
Okay. Now, if you hear a song that sounds familiar to you, feel free to kind of rock it out, sing and dance along with us. Raphael, you got a little something up your sleeve?
Can I add some?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Dear, 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 dear.
Whoa,
Dear, dear, dear.
yeah.
You guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Dear,
Yeah.
dear,
Look at the stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
Wouldn't you think I'm a girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold?
Looking around, do you think so? Oh, she's got everything, yeah.
Those poor unfortunate souls in pain, in need. This one longing to be thinner, that one wants to get the girl and do I help them? Ha!
Yes, indeed. Poor unfortunate souls
Look at the boy too shy, ain't gonna kiss the girl.
They come flocking like cauldron crying spells. Ursula, please, and do I help them?
Ain't
Yes,
gonna
I do.
miss the girl. Shoo-ba-doo, hey. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
so many things to tell her, but how to make her see the truth about my past impossible. She turned away from me.
He's holding back, he's hiding from what I can't decide. Why won't he be the king? I know he's the king I see inside. And can you feel the love tonight? The peace the evening brings.
The world for once in perfect harmony. as it can be. Barely even friends, then somebody bends unexpectedly.
Just a little change.
Just a little change.
To say the least, both a little scared, neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Gotta get one jump ahead of the bread line, one swing ahead of the sword. I'll steal only what I can't afford.
And that's how we say, hey, one jump in front of the lawman. That's all, and that's no joke. These guys don't appreciate our road. Oh, hey.
A dazzling place I never knew, but now from way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Shooting star, come so far.
Go back to where
I used to
Never
be.
had a friend, never had a friend.
You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend like me. Can your friends do this?
Can your friends do that? Oh, 'cause
This is how we do it.
Woo! Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everybody. How you doing so far? I said, how you doing so far? Yeah, that's like it. Once again, everybody, we are right on key, and we're so glad to be here with you guys this morning. We have time for one more song. And folks, if you recognize this song, we want you to clap along and sing along. And do us a favor. If you took any photos or videos, go ahead and post it online and use that hashtag. Hashtag right on key.
Yes.
All right, right on key. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. The sun shines easy, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that can go to space. In the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. And clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. And clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. So give me all you got and don't hold it back. Yo, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
Alright and good to go.
No offense to you, don't waste your time.
Listen up,
Here's why.
because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Let's go.
Hey, happy.
Bring me down, can't nothing
Happy.
bring me down. Good love is too high.
Happy.
Bring me down. I say can't nothing
Happy.
bring me down.
Happy, 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 happy,
happy, happy. Whoa, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Hey! Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Now, baby, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your time.
Let's give another round of applause to Right on Key. Okay, now we come to the part of the program where we show the art gallery winners. How many of you bought tickets for the art gallery? How many of you won paintings? Yeah, that's what I thought. So this year was the first time we had the art gallery, and many people found hope by bringing their art and sharing it with us. I see a piece over there. Nearly 900 raffle tickets were purchased and winners were drawn last night. All of the winners are listed on the screen. Please pick up your artwork right outside the ballroom if you haven't already picked it up. It'll be out there until 12:30 today. So dozens of artists who gave their beautiful artwork this first ever art show, and to the many who purchased our raffle tickets, thank you. Your efforts raised $4,450 for PHA. For now, you can enjoy your brunch, your French toast and sausage, and connecting with your friends, and we'll come back shortly for a conclusion of our program.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Doug Taylor, PHA Board of Trustees member and PHA Conference Committee co-chair.
Is there anybody who doesn't know who I am by now? We have the voice of God each time, but here I am. I hope you've all been enjoying your brunch and a final chance to network with friends new and old. And I just want to tell you that in honor of World PH Day, PHA joined forces with PH organizations around the globe. And on May 5th, PHA kicked off a month-long campaign to raise awareness of PH. We also raised awareness of the need for access to care and treatments. As part of the campaign, we shared the story of Rebekah Calverley. Rebekah Calverley, a 26-year-old with pulmonary hypertension, lives an amazing and fun-filled life with a hole in her heart and lung disease. Diagnosed at 3 years of age, but born with the condition, Rebekah has learned how to adapt her life to live with PAH. As a young schoolgirl, she faced bouts of bullying and teasing from kids who saw her as different. And in turn, she pushed to prove herself to her classmates, often ending up pushed beyond her limits, out of breath, and needing oxygen. As Rebekah embraced her condition and worked her life with her limitations, she has managed to accomplish what many believed out of reach. Her family, friends, and doctors have continued to encourage her to safely push her boundaries, and they know better than to try to stop her. Today, she's here to talk about support networks and never giving up hope for achieving your dreams. I'd like to introduce Rebekah as she shares her story, one she hopes will inspire you as you leave this fantastic conference. Please join me in welcoming Rebekah Calverley.
All right, good morning, everyone. How are we feeling? All right. So I know I kind of caught you in the middle of breakfast, but we're going to start out with a little bit of a poll here this morning. So I hope, I don't catch you while you're trying to chew. So are we excited for the last event of the weekend? Okay. I can hear like a lot of excitement over this side of the room, so we're going to pick it up on this side. So how many of you here have met some new friends from across the globe this weekend? All right. So is anyone here from the West Coast still? Yeah, California? Yeah, all right, lots of cheers. Oregon? All right, a few, very nice. And what about this area, East Coast side? Okay, so I'm from New York area, not originally though, so we'll get into that in a few minutes. How many of you have been to Florida before? Okay, and do we have any international visitors still with us this weekend? A handful? All right. So it's a test to see if you read the Right Heart article, and I do expect one hand raised over here. But is anyone here from New Zealand? Yes, okay. So my sister actually is recovering from jet lag, but she did come back, and she is with me this weekend from New Zealand. So round of applause for her, because she's also been piggybacking me everywhere this weekend. So for many of you, you have already heard part of my story. You may know I'm from New Zealand originally, and whether you know about me through the Right Heart article or through conversations we've had this weekend or through the introduction you just heard from Doug, while I might live an amazing, beautiful, fearless life with pulmonary hypertension, I wasn't always this way, and I wasn't always thick-skinned and ready to take on all of these challenges. When I was in 3rd grade, I was new to the US, new to the schools, I had a really funny accent, I have lost it, and to top it off, I was blue and out of breath. I couldn't join sports teams, and I was given a pass to run the mile in PA, which may be a blessing. I remember one gym class, we were forming teams for scooter dodgeball, and I was sure that my friends were going to pick me, because why not? And I could still contribute, even if I wasn't the best. Instead, I heard them sitting behind me muttering that there was no way they were going to pick me for their teams because I was disabled and they would lose because of me. I was devastated. I went home and I swore my mom to secrecy. She wasn't allowed to say anything, but I had a heartbreaking story. Of course, due to her mother's love and protection, this secret was absolutely never going to stay a secret. And the next day, I got to school and all the students had to apologize to me for what they had said. In the moment, it was completely mortifying, but it was the beginning of my acceptance for my condition and the understanding that it was okay to be different, and realizing that not everybody understood the condition that I had. We may have all had these why me moments. Even now, we all look different, even as you look around this room, but we are all fighting this exact same disease. When I had that moment, I came to understand that PAH will always be a part of me, but it's absolutely not what defines me. And that's how I've chosen to live my life every day since then. However, as stubborn and as thick-skinned as I may be now, I'm nothing without the supporters around me. So today, I want to talk about 2 words that have to do with support and the hope that comes from these. So supported and supporter. According to the Webster's Dictionary, support means to bear or hold up, to sustain, or it's a person who gives aid or assistance. And at this conference, that's exactly what we do for one another. And we are all building that foundation for each other and providing that support to one another. While some survivors here have multiple conditions, we're all different ages, shapes, sizes, religions, heights, colors, hair colors, eye colors, we're all united through pulmonary hypertension, and to me, that's really powerful. As I've said, I was diagnosed when I was very young, 3 years old. For me, I was able to adapt to this condition because it is the only thing my body has ever known. I have the most incredible support group. As I've said, my sister's right here in the front row. She's flown all the way from the other side of the world. I have great family and friends and doctors. My Dr. Diane Kirstein is from Columbia Presbyterian, and I know you've met a couple doctors from there this weekend. And most especially, my family. My parents and my 2 younger sisters have piggybacked me through Europe, down the streets of Disney, around college campuses, down city streets, and even around our own neighborhood. My sisters are my bodyguards, my entourage, my comedic assistants, all at once, and it's truly these 4 people, and of course our useless but very adorable fluffy cat, that motivate me, encourage me, and push my limits. And of course, who could forget? Cue the fluffy cat. So he needed to make an appearance, of course. I've been incredibly lucky that my parents have never tried to hold me back or keep me in any sort of protective bubble, and they've encouraged me to do as much as I feel I can and as much as I want to try. This includes horseback riding and show jumping, going away for college, partaking in opera courses and school plays. I've certainly overstepped my limits more than a handful of times, and then I've ended up sitting with my family while they tell me to take my 5 deep breaths and catch my breath again because I've done far more than I was able to do. But it's given me the drive to set goals far beyond anything anybody's expected me to be able to do. My dream as a child was to be the first woman to walk on the moon, which hasn't actually happened, so you could still see it. Just keep an eye out. And in 2008 or so, I did my Make-A-Wish to the Kennedy Space Center, where I got to meet an astronaut. Following this wish, we spent a couple of days in Disney World, where we were going on the Mission to Space, Mission to Mars test track ride, where it was in its final weeks of pre-testing. Now, I will give a disclaimer here. I was under the full blessing of my doctors to try roller coasters and things like that, and I was with my family. I don't say do it unless you've checked first, but I'm a huge adrenaline junkie. I love roller coasters. I've been doing them since I was young, so naturally we had to get into the 3-hour line for this ride. About 2.5 hours into the line, my youngest sister decided that she just wasn't feeling it, and it wasn't as exciting as we were hyping it up to be. So she convinced Mom to just go stand outside with her, and she would wait while Dad, Jess, and I completed the round-trip mission to Mars. A family was behind us this whole time, and of course they've got all the warning signs up, like if you have a heart condition, if you have a lung condition, high blood pressure, don't go on this. So we were talking about it while we were in line and finished our round-trip mission to space, got off the ride, walked outside, and I got back in the wheelchair. And back in those days, you could get through the wheelchair line at Disney and cut everybody and get right onto the next ride and keep going. So that's what we did. It was a huge perk. And we went from Mission Space onto the test track ride and onto the next ride. And of course, this family just happened to follow us all the way through Disney. And they saw me hop out of the wheelchair and then get onto the next ride. And then hop back in the wheelchair, cut the line, and hop back out of the wheelchair and onto the next ride. So they finally went to say something, and my youngest sister, seeing the confusion on their faces, turned and she goes, "Oh my God, it's a miracle, she's healed." She does this a lot, actually. So, like I said, she is my entourage and bodyguard, so I would not put it past her. And then she turned and she shuffled us through, and she goes, "Don't look back, absolutely don't look back at them." And we just got back onto the ride. And it was not the first or the last time that somebody has questioned that ability to go from sitting in a wheelchair to just jumping onto a ride. And this sister here actually did it with me this weekend as well, so it hasn't stopped yet. So my family has learned to deal with a lot of the looks that we get when I fly with oxygen, the added time that it takes to get through security, as I'm sure you're all familiar with, when security decides they need to vigilantly swab your POC machines, and then they stick up for me when somebody makes an ill-informed comment. But they're also there for me when I make harebrained decisions to zipline, bungee jump, or even push my limits beyond what they know I can do. And like I said, they'll sit there with me and breathe with me while I have to catch my breath after trying all of these ideas. They're also the ones who supported me moving recently to New York City and continuing singing and going out with friends, and they've encouraged me to get off the couch, and we always have to do the 5K walk before our Thanksgiving dinner every year. We all need to be supported through every step of this journey in order to make it. And the people you came here with this weekend are doing just that for you. They're building and being your foundation because they care and they believe in you and they support you, no matter how that manifests itself in your journey. The next word, though, supporter, is what I think is most important to us individually. For me, one of the hardest struggles that I sometimes face is not actually looking sick and then failing to get the support that I need because nobody thinks there's anything wrong. I don't wear oxygen on a daily basis because my heart condition and my lung condition actually work together to get me breathing a little bit steadier. But I sleep with oxygen, I fly with oxygen, and living in New York City, I often rush to get through the subway, and then I have to pause on the stairs to catch my breath or pace myself because I just push myself too hard. During the winter, on really humid days, I do have to park a little bit closer, use that handicap parking sticker because I just can't do the long walking. 80% oxygen saturation, to me, is a fantastic day. So at 75% on a normal day, I still feel really great. And that's because this is something my body is completely used to. And for everybody in this room, that will be a little different, and that's okay. As we look around this room, we acknowledge that this condition has manifested itself differently in every single one of us. While some days it's really hard to accept that this is our fight, and we each have it individually, I hope this weekend has helped you to see that you have support from everybody around here. And just take a minute to look around this room with you. I hope you give the same support that you receive, no matter the kind of fight people are fighting around you. So I've been blessed to have 23 years of understanding my condition, hating my condition, questioning my condition, and then finally accepting it. I've met people who don't understand PAH, as I'm sure many of you have, but then I've also had the blessing of knowing so many people that do. I've dated amazing men who haven't seen me or treated me anything differently than they have any other girl, even though I come with all the medication and I sleep with oxygen at night. We can have the best support networks in the world, but I think we get the greatest encouragement when we support each other and lift each other up. And we can overcome the most when we have that kind of support. The last 2 years, I have walked with an amazing team of people from the PHA O2 Breathe Walk in Philadelphia. And we've raised money, not just for my fight, but for the fight of everybody in this room. And while doing this, I've connected with so many people throughout the area, and 2 to 3 years later, we're still connected on social media, and we're still encouraging each other and checking in on each other's individual fights every day. This is a journey that we all have to make together. Someday, you will look back and know exactly why it had to happen. This quote has stayed with me ever since my mom told me as a child that God took away a part of my heart so he could give me a voice instead. Looking back on my middle school experiences, I'm not bitter about anything that had to happen to me. I had to overcome that because I finally ended up understanding what it is to have pulmonary hypertension. I firmly believe holding grudges against those people is a waste of the very limited breath that we are given. And even standing up here right now, sometimes I gotta just breathe in a little bit. So I've reconnected with many of those students now through high school and college and through fundraisers that we've done. And I'm grateful that those experiences shaped me into the person I am today. None of us are alone on this journey. And this weekend, I hope that you've realized that and you see just how much support you have, how many advances are being made to this condition, to treat this condition. And you've heard a lot of them this weekend. There are a lot in the works. And just how much impact a single person, let alone every single person in this room, could have. And this weekend, I hope you've been able to network, meet new friends and new people that will encourage you and help you feel encouraged by. I have the most incredible doctors, the funniest friends, the strongest family, and the belief that one day we will permanently conquer pulmonary hypertension. So I hope that we can leave here this weekend completely inspired to live our own individual, amazing, and fearless lives. And I will continue to live my own amazing, beautiful, fearless life, however that manifests itself, because it's a gift that I have been given every day. So I would actually like to take a moment to share with you one of the first opera songs that I was ever taught. It's called O mio bambino caro, and it is from one of Puccini's operas.
O mio bambino caro, mi piacevi andare in pozza rossa a compiere l'anello. Sì, sì, ci voglio andare. E se andassi intorno attraverso ponti vecchio, ma per buttarmi in arno mi Thank you.
Wasn't that wonderful? Rebekah, thank you so much for being such a role model and champion for PHA and for people living with PH. And thanks for taking the time to raise awareness and money for PHA's programs. Let's give her a final round of applause. And now we come to a very special time at every conference. It's a time when we thank our Board of Trustees and we welcome the chair, the current chair of our Board of Trustees, and the new board member who's picking up the gavel as our chair-elect. So I give you Roger Tull and Karen Fagan.
And the first thing I'll say is we are not going to sing, so you can all relax. After spending the last 14 years on the PHA board and the last 2 years as the board chair, I absolutely want to thank everyone who has worked so hard for PHA. It's been a very interesting and positive 2 years as we have a new president for the first time. We've overcome a number of new challenges, changes, and we've instituted a new strategic plan. Today, I especially want to thank our conference co-chairs, Rita Orth, Tracy Stewart, and Doug Taylor, and all of the many members of the conference committee, all of the volunteers, the PHA staff who worked so hard to put this incredibly successful conference together. Thank you. If I could get this open. This gavel has been used by each board chair since the beginning of PHA in 1991, and I'm truly honored to have had the opportunity to serve in this position for the past 2 years and to be able to pass this gavel on to our new chair. And I would say that I believe 9 of our past chairs were actually here this weekend. We were together yesterday for a while. So I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Karen Fagan to you, who's replacing me as the new chair of the PHA board. I find it really interesting that I first met Karen at a conference several years ago when I introduced her at a session in which she was the speaker. She's been involved with PHA for the past 10 years, has served on the Scientific Leadership Council, and chaired the scientific sessions of our conference in 2008. Karen is a professor of medicine and pharmacology and critical care medicine and director of the Pulmonary Hypertension Center at the University of South Alabama. So I'm pleased once again to introduce Karen Fagan to the crowd at the conference, but this time as the new chair of PHA. Please welcome Karen Fagan. Could you put this out of the way?
Thank you, Roger, and thank you to the Board of Trustees and to all of you for entrusting this incredible privilege to serve you all. I can promise you in the next 2 years, every action that the PHA takes is with all of you in mind of how we can make our services better, more efficient, stronger, and to bring this community even closer together. So I thank you for that. It's a rare privilege that someone gets to take over, I won't say replace, someone like Roger, and to have been in the presence of so many past chairs this weekend. I promise you that I will work hard to support the mission of this organization, and I'm grateful to be able to do that. One of the best things that the incoming chair gets to do, however, is to announce the location for the 2020 conference. I'm pleased to say that we will be back on the West Coast in Anaheim, California in 2020. And we'll have some parting comments from Doug.
Has anybody posted that on Facebook yet? Thank you, Karen and Roger, and it's been a pleasure to serve on the board with you guys. We all look forward to the next 2 years. Some last-minute housekeeping. Your feedback is very important to us. We use it in planning the next conference, which will be in where? Oh, you were listening. America. It will be in America. That's what I was telling people. So if you haven't already, please fill out your evaluation form. If you have it with you and it's complete, you can leave it on the table and it'll be collected from you here. But if you haven't filled it out, you'll get an electronic version mailed to you and you can complete the survey online. And now that conference is coming to an end while we're in Orlando, we hope that you've gained new knowledge through the breakout sessions, made new friends and connected with old ones, and were inspired by the stories you heard throughout the weekend, and especially Rebekah's story this morning. We hope you never stop finding your hope. As this amazing gathering comes to a close, each of our stories, each of our journeys to finding our hope continues on. Tomorrow is a new beginning as we find our hope. We encourage you to stay connected with each other and with PHA, and to carry the torch until we meet again in Anaheim in 2020. So have a great rest of the day and safe travels, everyone.